The Democratic challengers are now getting ready to face off in Miami, Florida for the first debates of the 2020 presidential campaign. Those debates are set for Wednesday and Thursday this week. Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, what is the goal as these candidates take the stage?
Former Mayor Willie Brown and, of course, the co-anchor this morning, Mayor Willie Brown. The Democrats are getting ready for a two-tiered, two-day, 2-hour each debate. What the heck are they hoping to accomplish?
Well, all I know is, unless you're in the first 15 minutes on the first day, that's the only time anybody's going to be listening. After that, it's Katie bar the door. I'm watching, reruns of Law and Order.
It's true. And as someone, I know we've moderated debates before, and in San Francisco, when you have, a dozen people running, we know what it's like to moderate a huge number of folks, and it's really hard to get them to shut up. I'll be very interested to see how they do it. The only method I've ever seen that works is cutting the microphone completely. It's brutal, but it's what you got to do.
You've been in those debates. What is the goal of, have you never been in a debate that big, have you?
No, never. Are you kidding me? And not only that.
Would you even show up? Would you show up if you were
All
president?
I want is the first question.
Okay.
If I get the first question, no one else will be talking, including the person asking the questions, because I would never finish my answer just like here.
Question though. If you are out there, it seems like if you are one of the quote unquote front runners, you have everything to lose. If you're one of the newcomers, you have to try your best to try to just make a mark.
As a matter of fact, if you're one of the front runners and you don't get the question until like fourth or fifth, at that point, you really ought to be charitable and start talking with the others who are not as well known, who are not, so that you incur their good pleasure. You don't want to be the victim. You don't have time to bail yourself out.
Well, I'll say this too. That's not a lot of time. We saw at the Democratic convention the 7-minute speeches. They just weren't that long.
And
Right.
It might be 3, 2, 1, 6. I mean, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So who do you think has the skill set to kind of succeed in this type of forum?
Well, they've all been on the road. They've all been polishing their messages, giving speeches in South Carolina, as you just said, and at the convention. So they're right now all sort of putting that together. But remember, these debates aren't debates in the sense of an exchange of ideas, right? It's really just a series of 30-second speeches. And so, but you have somebody like Cory Booker, who I think actually might do really well in this format because he's such a great public speaker.
Okay, I was going to ask you for one name, so we've got that one name. We'll see. We'll come back next week.
Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown about Joe Biden stepping into what Mayor Brown called his blackface moment.
Well, good morning, Mayor Brown. A little while ago, you advised former Vice President Joe Biden to stay in the kitchen, not come out, not be public. Well, he stepped out on Juneteenth, and he stepped right into it with what you called, his blackface moment?
Yes, it was a bad scene for him, particularly when he resorted to a Southern accent.
What we're talking about is talking about working with segregationists in the 70s.
Yeah, but he started out, Phil, in a way in which you would never do it, when he talked about how, in a Southern accent, that black male adults were referred to as boy, and he was never victimized by that. They always called him son. And he talked about Eastland and Herman Talmadge, a horror from Georgia, and this other guy was from Mississippi. Biden, stay away from that. It's yesterday, not explainable, no amount of time, and we have a group of super sensitive Willie Brown types who are overly committed to making sure you get educated.
Well, people keep saying it's a gaffe, but as you know, he brought it up. It was clearly something he intended to do. He put on the drawl. It wasn't as if he stumbled and something sort of came out. He definitely intentionally said this, and whether it was just a miscalculation or if it was intended to invoke some sort of reaction in what a Willie Brown type, sensitive Willie Brown types, it's not clear.
As a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that, because my next step was, this was a deliberate effort to demonstrate to a collection of people, in my opinion, by Biden, that he's not subject to all this progressive, politically correct stuff.
So you think that was the message?
Same guy. Yes. I
That the message was...
Because he's doubling down. He's doubled down on it, Phil. He's trying to... Why would you take on Cory Booker You know, he's like 18th out of 22. Why would you bother?
Yeah, Cory Booker then said, you owe people an apology because you sort of made light or
And then Biden
brought
said,
it to
no,
issue.
you owe me an apology.
And Biden said, no, you owe me an apology. Now there's like this apology war happening within the Democrats.
Not only that, when a white guy like Biden says to a black guy like Booker, you owe me an apology, I don't owe you one. Every black in America is standing with Booker.
So Biden has been holding steady, but is that good enough, or does he need to show that he's continuing to kind of grow like some of the other candidates are in their support?
Well, to win the general, he would need to get that support. But to win the presidential nomination, he just needs to just get enough of those delegates. And remember, delegates go to people who are the plurality winner and are sort of, distributed that way. You don't necessarily need to win by a majority vote every primary or even all of them or even most of them to get the nomination. So he could, as long as the other candidates stay in and keep dividing this vote, it's going to be working in his favor to have this many candidates in the race.